If someone talks about something and they open up about something, and you then relate to that by saying, hey, I've had this similar experience, what arrives at the other person is she's only talking about herself. She's so self-absorbed. She's so full of herself. Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome back to Rooted in the Cosmos, your podcast for spiritual leadership, higher consciousness, and New Earth vision. My name is Isabelle Gloria. I'm your host, and I'm welcoming you to this brand new episode. As you may have noticed, I had a 2 week break, which wasn't necessarily planned. I had bad time management, just to be completely honest, and I didn't pre-produce the podcast while I launched my Offer the Cosmic Wonders mentorship, so I didn't find the time to record. But now I'm back with a brand new episode. I hope you forgive me for taking a little break. And yeah, I want to dive into some very interesting topics with you today, and something that keeps coming up in my audience, in my clients, in the people that feel magnetized by my content and by my work. So I thought it is most likely relevant to you too. And let's dive right in. Let's talk about the struggles or the experiences that we as light workers, as star seeds, go through. This episode is not meant to give you like a manual on how to fix it or make you feel like you need fixing. Something you can listen to feel understood and to realize that you are not alone with this. And I'm aware that not a lot of people have the privilege to connect with a lot of spiritual people on the same path like I do. Like a lot of people on the awakening path come to me and ask for advice, or they want to work with me, or they simply let me know how much they resonate with my work and with my content. So I know that a lot of you are out there. But in regular life, if you're not surrounded by spiritual people or by people having the same experiences as you, I can imagine that it sometimes is really hard. And I've also been there. Like, it's not like I've always had this platform and I've always had the opportunity to connect with so many people on that path. So this episode is meant to make you feel validated in your experiences, because what I feel is happening a lot is that light workers and star seeds, they feel so misplaced in the world sometimes that they begin to think something must be wrong with me, or I need something to fix about myself. A lot of spiritual people are also very active in self improvement, self development, and they are great at self reflecting. So, what naturally happens is that you begin to feel like something is wrong with you, or that you need to find the core or the reason of why you feel the way you feel. And even though there are topics that can be integrated, there, like everyone has shadows and has unresolved stuff. In most cases, it's not something to fix, it's something to embody and to validate within yourself. And with this episode, I want to give you the permission slip to look at yourself from a different angle and to not see feeling different or feeling misplaced in the world as something necessarily negative, but as something that your soul chose to experience in this lifetime for a good reason, and for you to draw power from and to use as fuel to creating a life that you want to live and to creating something beautiful out of it. What a lot of light workers and starseeds have in common is that they talk to a person and they feel like they're normal, they're doing small talk, they're being open, they want to have a conversation, and all that happens is that the other person is staring back at them, and it feels like they're not really getting what you're trying to convey, or that they are in some type of way irritated by what you say, or by how you say it, by what your energy is like when saying it. And this happens completely unconscious to the other person. They just perceive something different about you, and they don't even know what it is. And I've heard something very interesting, which I'm not going to go too deeply into right now. But what I've heard in, I think it was a podcast, another podcast or something, it was very interesting. I heard that a lot of neurodivergent people make that experience as well. So people with ADHD or on the autism spectrum, that they are being clocked as weird in a split second by a neurotypical person. And I have this theory because that came to me like years ago, like this download and this information that there is a very strong correlation between neurodivergence, ADHD, autism, and being a starseed, being a light worker. So I'm not going to go into this to not make this a medical claim or anything like that. I'm not claiming anything, but I feel like there is a connection there, or there could be. And a lot of starseeds and light workers also have ADHD tendencies, have some signs of autism. And what could be is that science just gave these developments in the human consciousness a name and a diagnosis and make it seem like something is wrong and something needs to be medicated, when in reality it's maybe just a natural thing of how people are. Some are like this and some are like that. So make of that what you will. But if you are a starseed and a light worker, you probably know that scenario. You want to connect, you want to socialize, you feel like you are doing your best and you are pretty normal about it. And people just stare at you like slightly irritated, like, okay. And you don't even know what's wrong. So, what I've figured out over the years and the information that came to me is that lightworkers and starseeds operate on a slightly different energetic bandwidth. So, what feels normal to you often feels like you are speaking a foreign language to another person. And that other person doesn't necessarily judge you or think bad of you in that moment. They are just being hit with a frequency, with an energy that they cannot relate to. And that is different from what they are. It's like two different realities crashing into each other. And that creates friction and irritation in both of you. What adds to that and what makes it 10 times worse is that you most likely sense emotional undercurrents. What that means is that you can read people in a way. So you read the true intentions of someone, you feel immediately if something is off about their intent or if what they mean and what they say is not the same thing. Beneath the words, there is a subconscious surface level communication that most people don't really pick up on. That's why they can be so pretentious about connecting and why they can be so superficial and are okay with that and don't feel irritated by it. But you cannot handle that. You cannot deal with this surface level of feeling that naturally happens when you talk to a person who is not on the same wavelength as you. So, what naturally happens is that you feel socially awkward. You feel like you're missing social cues. You feel like you're not playing the rules that everyone plays by. So, for example, in a workplace, there is a lot of pretentious talk and a lot of masking and playing a role and making jokes that are not funny and just like surface level talk all day. And you may be able to play along, but you feel like it's taking a lot of your energy to do that. And you are masking all day long. Masking is pretending to be a way that you are not, to make others feel comfortable or to fit into social situations or to fit into a certain group of people. That is masking. And for light workers and starseeds, this is extremely exhausting. While for other people, it can be exhausting to have a very deep, emotionally invested conversation and they feel like done after that. It's very hard for them to do that. That is what's easy for you. You would much rather have a conversation with a person that you actually connect with. You don't have to know them well, just connect with. And you talk about something that actually has substance, that has purpose, that is interesting and deep and makes you feel connective rather than masking with people who are just making superficial jokes, who you cannot really look into, who are not interested in being looked into, who are not interested in being vulnerable and open and real. And that is exhausting to you. It's exhausting, and I speak from experience here, to be around people who are not being their true selves and have no idea how that works. So rather than just being real, they're making a dry joke about something or they're ironic about something or sarcastic. And you're like, what the hell? Just be real with me here. We are two people, we are two souls. We can just talk to each other. We can connect on a much deeper level. Why are you just giving me this surface level shit? And if you feel that in your life a lot, and if it frustrates you, please know that this is a sign that you are working on a different energy. You're just not on the same wavelength as these people, and that is okay. And you will always meet them because there's way more of those people in the world than people who want to connect deeply. And it's okay. Just know that you can feel validated in feeling exhausted, in taking your time alone, in not engaging when you don't feel like it. Just be yourself. They will think of you as the weirdo anyway, no matter if you pretend to not be weird to them or if you are just setting boundaries, being yourself as much as you can. It doesn't matter. They have clocked you as weird energetically, anyways. So it doesn't really matter how you operate and how you handle that for yourself. It much more inspires some of them to be more authentic. So sometimes it can switch into people who are open for a deeper connection in them, like slowly opening up to you and realizing that you're real with them and not just this pretentious surface level shit that everyone else is doing. So they have a permission slip to be more open and to be more vulnerable. And you can actually help people by just being yourself or by just not engaging at all if you feel like it is too surface level. And people might get inspired by you keeping it real and being in your own embodied expression. So not everyone has to be irritated by it only. There's also people out there who may feel very similar to you, but they never met a person who meets those needs and who shows that there can be another way of communicating, of being real with each other. So you may actually inspire other people to be more open, to be more vulnerable, to stay with conversations for a little longer. What also makes it have a disconnect when you connect with the majority of people is that you're naturally a visionary. So you like to talk about the big things. You like to talk about collective topics. You like to talk about future possibilities in your own life, in their life, in the world in general. So you like to talk about the world and humanity and life from the eyes of a visionary. Most people, though, have fear of the future. So what they like to do is to dwell in the past, to feel nostalgic, to focus on others. So they love to talk about others. And sometimes if you observe certain humans, you will notice that their entire friendship or their entire relationship is built on talking about other people. They talk about their love life, they talk about who they date, they gossip, they only talk about other people, they talk about potential partners, they talk about who liked the story and who didn't, they talked about who swiped left or right. It's like so boring. It is so boring to talk about these things, especially when it's someone else. Like, who cares? And I'm not saying it's all black and white. Like a starseed and a lightworker, they can also gossip sometimes. We also get interested in the drama sometimes. It's not all black and white. But the majority of conversations cannot be about this, or we will go crazy. But a lot of people only have that. Their entire relationships, especially friendships, are built on talking about other people, talking about the past, talking about experiences they had together. And there's nothing wrong about this. Like, don't get this the wrong way, but I'm talking about if that is the only thing that connects you. Like, if I have a friend, a true friend, I want to know about your trauma. I want to know about the worst things that happened to you in life that shaped you. I want you to face your own shadows, your own fears, your own darkness. I want to talk about these things because that's what actually makes us bond with each other and see ourselves for who we are. We are being shaped not only by the loose relationships we have or by the gossip that's happening or by the drama that is happening in our friend group. We are shaped by real life. What unfulfilled vision are you carrying in your heart every day? Like, These are the topics I want to talk about. What do you think about the world? What do you think about why we are here? Like, not even talking about the spiritual things, like just things that should be normal to question as a human being, but that are so weird to the regular person because they are too afraid to go there. That is what I want to connect over with people. And that is what probably you long for too. And I want to validate you in that. You also can be inspiring to other people. Be open, ask these questions, even if it's weird to them, or even if you get the fluoride stare and they just stare back at you like, what the fuck does this person want from me? But be that person to open the conversations, to talk about weird things, to question reality. Be that person for them. Even if they don't engage in that conversation with you, you will irritate them and you will essentially help them to either start questioning things for themselves or to be triggered and irritated by it and maybe questioning themselves why they feel that way. You cannot make anyone awaken, but you can open the doors for people. They just have to go through them. And if you keep opening the door and if you keep opening conversations that are actually substantial, you make it easier for people who are just at the beginning of awakening to actually make the step forward and to talk to you or to question things in themselves. Not everybody who acts superficial is superficial. For a lot of us, it's just what we've learned to fit in and to get by. But yeah, be that person to irritate everyone. A huge thing that also happens for a lot of my clients and for a lot of light workers and starseeds in general is that the more they wake up to how humanity acts and how people interact with each other, because let's be real, for a lot of us, it feels like we are observing humanity, and we've always done that even as a child, and we're observing how they interact, how they connect with each other, how they make friends, how they find partners, but you never feel like you're really part of them. You're more like observing a species, and you're like, oh, interesting, I can't relate. And the more you observe humanity and the more you figure out how they interact and why they sometimes react to you in a weird way, the more you realize that for most people, socializing revolves around competition and performance. Let's make an example. You share something really exciting that happened in your life, and you're like, oh my God, that's so cool. And it can just be something small that just makes you happy. A lot of people who are not on the same wavelength as you will then feel like you are competing to them. So they are measure their own worth, where they stand in life, what they've experienced with your experience. It's a one-sided competition that you never wanted to start, especially in things like jobs, relationships, family life, just like regular life stuff. If you come up and tell them, hey, let's make an example that would make someone who wants to step into spiritual leadership happy. Let's say you say to them, hey, I've just hit 10K on my Instagram page. I've worked so long for that. I'm so like happy that this happened. What they hear is, your job is not good enough. You're not cool enough to be an influencer. I'm so much more likable than you. It's crazy. Like, I'm not generalizing here. It's obviously dependent on the person, but I'm speaking about the experiences that every lightworker has made. People are constantly comparing themselves to you. So if something good happens in your life, or if you, for example, have a loving partner, they will continuously compare their partner to yours. And when you share good things about your partner, it will feel like you are bragging about how much better you are to them. Even though that's not what you want. You want to share your joy, you want to share your genuine feelings. But what lands with those people is, she's comparing herself to me and she's measuring up to my life milestones. It's crazy. And what I've learned in my personal life, I've had these experiences a lot where people feel like I'm bragging, or I'm trying to one up them, or I'm trying to make it about myself. This is also a huge thing. If someone talks about something and they open up about something, and you then relate to that by saying, hey, I've gone through this and this situation, and I've had this similar experience. From the perspective of a light worker, this is meant to say, hey, I'm telling you this because I can relate and we're in this together and I'm opening up to you and I'm here for you like a sponge. Like, tell me everything. I can relate. I can understand you. I'm here for you. I love you. That's what we mean. But what arrives at the other person is, oh no, she's making it about herself. She's only talking about herself. When I open up, I have to close down immediately again because she's just making it about herself. She's so self-absorbed. She's so full of herself. While that is completely not true. This is also a neurodivergent thing. A lot of neurodivergent people experience that as well. This is why I make that connection. I truly feel like there is a connection between spiritual awakening and neurodivergence. Not in all cases, but in a lot of cases. Like I said, I'm not going to go into that topic today, but if you can relate to this, let me know in the comments because I can relate so much. This happened my entire life that I wanted to relate. I wanted to be open. I came to them opening up my own story to show them like, I am here for you. I want to sit in this with you. Like, tell me about it now. And then they closed off and they felt like I made it about myself, which was not my intention, genuinely, not at all. And the more this happened in life, the more scenarios from my earlier teens or from just my earlier life, I could puzzle together and I could replay them in my head. And I was like, oh my God, they completely misunderstood my intentions. They felt like I was a complete a-hole, making it all about myself and wanting to one-up them, wanting to share what happened to me, which is way worse, blah, 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 which was never my intention. And if you share something you're proud of or you are happy about, it comes across as bragging a lot of the times, which also took me years to realize. I only really connect with people in my life, and those are my only true friends who work the exact same way. When I talk to my best friend about something and I'm like, oh my God, this happened to me too. Yeah, same sis. They are not like, don't make it about yourself now. I want to speak about this. Don't make it about yourself. Don't talk about yourself now. They're like, yeah, we can relate. And then we can go on to talking about this for like 3 hours. And after that, we have completely psychoanalyzed each other and we are like 10 steps ahead on our soul evolution. We have grown from this conversation so much. It could all be available for those people who constantly compare themselves, but they don't get it because they're not on the same wavelength as you. So please connect with people who are on the same wavelength. You must have a brain that works the same way as yours. Otherwise, you will be constantly tiptoeing around people. You will feel like you're on eggshells all the time, about to do something wrong or do something that upsets them or read a social clue in a wrong way. Like, personally, I'm tired of this. I don't need people like this in my life. I know they are loving people in their own way, but they are just not compatible to me. So maybe that helps you feel about this in a more empowered way. We're not bashing people who don't get us. We are just protecting ourselves by understanding it's not the same wavelength. You cannot be friends with every person on this planet, even if you get along with them. It's just a reality, especially as someone who is very self-reflective, who is on a spiritual journey, who is a light worker, a starseed. We are just wired differently, and there's many of us out there. It doesn't mean that we're alone in this. Another thing that you probably also resonate with is that you are very, very incredibly self-aware. And it's your gift because you can self-reflect a lot and you always know what's going on within you. But it's also a huge challenge because you are super self-aware. You know exactly what's going on within you. You know exactly what triggers you, what's ticking you off, and you always know what's happening and you constantly self-analyze. And you wish for just one day to walk through life and experience this effortless naivety that a lot of people have, but you just can't. You are too self-aware for that. You cannot just react to a situation. You have analyzed the other person in that situation. You have analyzed yourself. You have analyzed the dynamics between you. You cannot just be in your emotion and express them. You, at the same time, you also analyze them and you know exactly what's going on. While other people, they just have a fight, they scream at each other, they both feel like they're in the right and the other person is in the wrong. And when you have a fight with someone, you know why you reacted maybe not right. You also know why the other person reacted not right. You know why they reacted the way they did. You know why you reacted the way you did. You know what childhood trauma is part of it and what triggers and what shadows, and you know way too much to just be a person. So rather than being a human that learns through processing emotions and learns in a more unconscious way, at the same time, you're always your higher consciousness. You are never just the human you. You are always, without the ability to turn it off for even 1 second, you are always also your cosmic self. You are both at the same time, which makes it exhausting to exist in a human body, with human relationships, with human emotions, with conflicts, especially when the other person is completely unaware and you are the one analyzing them on top of analyzing yourself. It just gets exhausting sometimes. It's a gift for spiritual work. It's a gift for stepping into your mission. So if you ever have the desire to work with clients, to guide people on a spiritual journey, or to guide them in some type of emotional way, you are primed for that. Trust me, you are primed for that. This is also why your soul chose to come in with so much higher dimensional information about yourself and with the ability to reflect on everything. It is part of your soul mission as a lightworker, as a starseed, and it's meant to be that way. But if we look at it from a human perspective, it's just so tiring sometimes. You're also not very impressed by authority, which probably made you the problem child in school already, like the one that wanted justice when the teacher was unfair, the one that talked back or that didn't just swallow everything that the teacher was saying, that questioned things. And growing up, you had the same experiences in your job. You feel like authority is okay if it's a fair, like, rule, but you have a hard time accepting authority if it feels unreasonable to you. So this goes for your job, this goes for the system, this goes for rules that just apply because someone has decided that they apply and you cannot find a reason for why that would make sense. Things like that, you question them. And this questioning of rules, questioning of authority, most likely also made you go down a couple of rabbit holes. It made you see a lot of things other people are not seeing. Let's put it like that. So again, it's a gift and it's a challenge. It's a gift for being more awakened. It's a gift for your soul evolution. It's a challenge for a human meant to fit into a system. So make of that what you will. I don't want to be just a human fitting into a system. I want to keep thinking for myself. I want to keep creating. I want to be a co-creator. I want to be sovereign enough to make my own choices and to continue struggling in this world if that means I have mental freedom and I can think for myself. And I'm 100% sure if you're listening, if you're still in here listening to this, you are like me. You value your own mind and your freedom within over fitting in. So you would much rather create friction in some areas of your life if you stay true to yourself. I always say when I feel the inner pressure to correct something, it's never about wanting to fit in. It's always about making my internal world feel aligned. So I would much rather speak my truth or say my opinion and upset someone compared to saying something that I don't mean to fit in. The pain and the pressure of lying to myself is so much worse than being my true self and not being liked for that. I value my own authority and my own perception of self more than what is commonly accepted as the thing that you should believe in or say or fit into. So if that's currently different for you, if you rather suffer and do something or say something that is contrary to your truth and your beliefs and your values, just to fit in, I invite you to change that. Your own sovereignty, your own peace of mind and inner peace, you should weigh that more than fitting into a group of people who have a completely different worldview than you, or who you will not resonate anyways outside of this situation. So the next time you feel friction in yourself because you are meant to fit in and you don't want to, maybe instead of fitting in and feeling pain because of saying what you don't truly mean or acting in a way that you don't truly want, maybe turn it around and do what feels right and suffer the consequences of being looked at a little bit weird. In my life, I've learned to stay true to myself and rather suck it up to be the black sheep or to be the outsider in a group of people that I know don't resonate with me anyways. I'm true to myself. This is way more important than fitting into a group of people that you don't want to be part of. I feel like there is so much more that I could think of right now, but maybe I will actually make a part 2 about this at some point because there's really so much. The last thing I want to talk about is that you are not really impressed by titles, by money, by fame, by a certain image. So most likely you are not the typical fangirl that loves celebrity culture or looks up to like these stars and who's completely starstruck when they meet a famous person. Talking about my personal experience, making it about me, by the way, over the course of my life and through the choices I made, through the industries I worked in and was present in, I have been surrounded and I have gotten to know a lot of known people, a lot of famous people, some of them like really, really famous. And even back then when I wasn't super aware of like my spiritual awakening and all that, even back then I was like, why is everyone freaking out? Like, they are just normal people, and acting like they are on some kind of pedestal has always felt weird to me. And I have to say, because I genuinely don't feel impressed by that, I've gotten into every event, every VIP area, every cool situation ever because I'm just not impressed by that shit. Like, I feel like energetically people can pick up if you're genuinely not impressed, if you genuinely just have the talent of fitting in wherever you are, meaning that you don't feel lower than anyone else around you. And they just assume that you're part of the group. So that what happened a lot with me and Elaine. You probably know her as well. If you follow my content, you may have seen her. She's one of my besties. She's my soul sister. And we have experienced so much crazy shit. And we've been in such cool places. And we have seen stuff that normal people don't get access to just because we've never been impressed by fame, money, or celebrities. Been basically backstage at every event that you can think of because we always managed to attract some certain situation that made that happen. It wasn't necessarily our plan for that to happen. It just happened because we were working on some creative projects that we followed. We were both from a very early age on, we were blogging, and I had the fashion blog when that was like back in 2009, 10. That was the first type of influencer or of online celebrity that was there. And back then I had a fashion blog and I shared my alternative fashion, which made us get access to fashion events where obviously celebrities are there, which made us access concerts because of the alternative fashion, which made us access VIP areas on festivals, on concerts, on events. Like, it just kind of snowballed without that being the main reason for us stepping into that path. But I feel like when we talk about this, sometimes we feel like it's so funny that this has naturally happened for us and we were never impressed by it, and other people would probably rip an arm out to experience the same. And sometimes I feel like it's kind of unfair because someone who is really starstruck and who is really like crazy about shit like that, they probably would appreciate it more than we did. But on the other hand, it also is a wavelength thing. It's the same thing as talking to a person who's not on the same wavelength as you. If you are on that fangirl wavelength and you put everyone who maybe has a following or is on TV or was in a movie or is known, if you put all of them on a pedestal, they're not gonna vibe with you. It's not really compatible if you are really, really looking up to authority or to titles, money, fame, celebrities. It's not likely that you will end up in these circles. And yeah, that's another thing that you probably can relate to, that you're not really impressed by other people's titles. It doesn't only have to be a celebrity, it can also be a job that people look up to, or I don't know, some type of status symbol that works in the collective of humanity but doesn't work on you. As always, I hope you learned something new and this was an interesting conversation. I made it all about myself and I bragged at the end. Did you notice? I bragged by sharing my story about the celebrities. So I bragged. Irony off. But yeah, I hope you could relate to this. I hope you understand yourself more and where this is coming from. And I want to give you the biggest permission slip to just accept yourself as you are and to not see that all as negative. Because all these qualities that are sometimes challenges, all these qualities make you the perfect person to lead a movement, to grow a community, to share your voice, to be a spiritual guide for others, and to make all of these challenges your biggest gift. Because after all, your soul chose those challenges for you. You came in with such an open energy field and so much cosmic wisdom and so much cosmic connection and multidimensional connection, not because you wanted to be on such another wavelength that you cannot relate to anyone here, but because you have a higher mission here to fulfill and you need this information and this access to your own multidimensionality, to that broader wavelength that we're talking about. You need that access to actually fulfill your mission here and to do great things with it. So be proud of that. Own it, start being appreciative of these things rather than just seeing them as challenging and things that make you unrelatable and make your life harder. See them as the tools that you're still figuring out to eventually fulfill your mission and to use them to create a life for yourself that you actually enjoy and that you don't have to be someone else for, that you don't have to force yourself to fit into. Because that's what it boils down to. You are meant to create something new with all that frequency, with all that bandwidth of wavelength that you have, so you don't need to squeeze into the set system, into the set mold that is not meant for you. I'm wishing you a beautiful, beautiful week. We will talk next week for a brand new episode.